I think he was doing a giveaway for some SMEs to help their businesses. And then I jumped onto his timeline. I said I would contribute a generator for one of those businesses. And we kept in touch. And I think I got to know him more. Interacting with him, I also got a sense of how his mind works. And there's a funny story that captures that. So JJ sent me a message that he noticed I have a partner, Kazim Tewabade, and it seems Kazim had blocked him on Twitter. And I now reached out to Kazim to say, Kazim, what did Omojua do to you that you blocked him on Twitter? And then Kazim said, he blocked me first. I wasn't the one that blocked him. So I reached back to Omojua to say, Kazim said, you were the one who blocked him, not you. And JJ checked his block list and found Kazim there. So for me, I've been attending a lot of political events recently, and when they say goodwill messages, you have to come and drop something. You don't do goodwill message and just go. Oh my God, the book is 5,000 or 2,000? 5,000. So I'll donate ₦1 million for 200 books, 20 universities. Thank you.
Incredible, incredible.
Dubai.
Right.
I think it's time to start writing books too.
All of a sudden, look at you. Lulu, I would buy your book. Just one copy though. I don't know about buying 200 copies.
Now, real quick though, before we go further, someone's bank card is missing. Your name is Morgan Mayowa. We have your bank card. We're not telling you what the bank is. If it's yours, please step forward and we'll give it to you.
Wow.
Anyway.
We've graduated, excuse me, from calling people's license plate numbers to saying, your ATM card is right here. Anyway, it's now time for us to call on a man who's extremely graceful. I mean, when he walks into the room, he exudes a regal presence, and that is Charles Ochuda. We call upon you for your goodwill message.
Good afternoon. This is not a confirmation of anything that JJ is about. This is just my opinion of who he is. The digital platform has gone beyond reality, is now what we live with. He only defined it because he understood it. JJ, I will not talk about the book. I will talk about who you are. Okay, so JJ understands digital and he made it a way of life. Now the best part of it is that he's also, that's what you call the humanity of digital. This is where we all fail because we go online but there's no reality about who we are, but he personalizes it. So you're a superstar or a supposedly superstar, you're trying to become somebody, so you have that platform that makes it possible to talk to millions of people, but you lose your humanity. The beauty of digital is you must have a face. That's what Timi Dakolo did. That's what a lot of us have done on that platform. The beauty of this project is that he personalized it. So many people have come here and talk about how he personalizes the relationship. But most of us on the digital platform forget the humanity of digital. So you have 12 PAs, 24 PAs, you're not a small superstar, but you do not personalize the digital. You lose income. He personalizes it. What the beauty of this is about is that he understands the value of the personal relationship. Digital makes it seamless, but there's human face. That's the personal connection. The beauty of digital remains the human face and the connections, because without that platform, you are nothing. So this is a wonderful project. This is a fantastic one, and awesome. And I met JJ many years ago, but I don't go to all that. But this is a man that kept real to it until date. He keeps his relationships beyond just digital. This is the future of this market, endorsed by me. Thank you.
A round of applause for him again, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's now time for a lady. Now, this lady is talented, she's funny, she's brilliant, she's an amazing mother, friend, and big sister. Ladies and gentlemen, Bisola Ayola. Please step on stage. Stand up now. Big sister now. Come here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly didn't know I was going to be called up here. Congratulations, Omojua. I started following Omojua in 2013 on Twitter. And it was through an act. I was on a film set. It was through Kehinde Bankole. She just mentioned, oh, I really love this guy on Twitter. And I'm like, who? And she mentions your name. So I said, okay, I'm not really active on Twitter. Let me see what he's all about. And I went, and I was like, this guy, it seems like he likes quarrel. What's all this? And I just hit the follow button. I remember, who was it that spoke? I think it was Mr. Ayo Shonaya. He said the first time he saw Omojua, he was like, so he's even short set. That was exactly the same thing I saw it. I was like, okay. He has such a big personality. Omojua, you are a brother to me now. I got closer to you through my Temple family. You are a brother to us all now. You have supported me in so many ways. You've elevated me in so many ways. I'm happy to be here today. I want to say, don't stop. I know you've been attacked by so many people severally. Please don't stop the good work that you're doing. We are on your team, and we will always be on your team. Congratulations once again.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Bisola. And now I'd like to invite a former colleague of mine, and what I love about him is that he's used the digital space to take sport into a different sphere and to cover sports events from a totally different angle. So I'd like to invite Colin Udo onto stage for his message of good wealth. I haven't seen, oh, there you are. Welcome, Colin. Colin, you can do your walk of fame later. Can you? The whole crowd is waiting for you.
Bobby called me Collins, that's why. So I had to stop and warn him. Okay, so not many people can get me to step out of a plane and come straight to an event, but it turns out that there's a renegade young man here who can. His name is Omojua. I've been on something of a 6-day trip around the southeast, trying to do some work, and some of what I saw was disheartening and disappointing because, it boils down to the roads. There's some really, really bad roads in the southeast. And for all of you here who are from that area, I think when we talk about digital conversations, I think Mr. Ochudo said something about making it personal. We also have to make it real. And making it real means you have to demand accountability. Speak truth to the people who are responsible for your welfare. And if you are from those parts of the East, you should call those people to account. Because I don't see why it will take me a whole day to drive from Umuahia to Enugu and still not make it there, and I still have to stop and spend the night at Onitsha. It's not possible. It should not be possible. And when I leave here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a social media thread. I'm going to publish those videos so that all of you can see it and see exactly how bad. Some of those roads have actually gone down, as in divided almost into two, that you cannot even pass there.
And the sites that are actually being constructed, there are no signs, no construction signs showing you that you can make a diversion. To the point where we drove almost, maybe 20 kilometers in one direction only to get there, and there was a truck blocking the road. So we had to come back all the way. It's that bad. But this is not my platform, this is Omojuwa's platform. I met Omojuwa on Twitter. I think, I don't like him much because, well, not I don't like, I pity him a little bit because he supports Arsenal, just like Timi Dakolo. So I feel for them because if they can take that kind of suffering, then you know that they are great people. So yeah, and part of what Omojuwa has done is, for a young man, is that he has sort of flipped the script on many things, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whatever it is. Omojuwa has created a template, for young people to aspire to. And I think this book is just one of those many ones. I wish I was like my friend here, so I could say I have money to pay 1 million naira and take like 20 books, but I don't. But what I'm still going to do is I'm going to try and get as many copies as possible, and I'm going to distribute them to as many young people as possible as I know, because digital is a wealth creation platform, and everybody needs, to understand and do what needs to be done. Look, we're even far behind. Right now, digital is going into AI, immersive technologies, and we're not even anywhere close, and that is where we should be. So all I'll just say is, take a cue from Omojuwa, do the things he's done, and you never know where you can be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Colin Udo. On purpose, I didn't put the S. Finally, for the Guru messages now, please join me in welcoming on stage Mr. Akitunde Bada as well. And right after that, we'll go into some more business. Please, a round of applause for him.
Oh, well, that took me totally unawares. The last thing I was expecting was to be called up to speak about JJ Omojuwa, but I consider it a big honor. I think I started following Omojuwa on Twitter. It must have been around 2010. And like someone already said, I just was attracted to his appetite to quarrel, to carry other people's matter on his head and continue to drive, conversations around it. And you'd agree with me on a digital space, that tenacity, the consistency is key to building a brand as huge as it's got today. And this generation can learn a lot from how to use digital from people like Omojuwa. For some of us who are not as talented, it can prove challenging, especially when you've got a lot of other stuff to juggle. We're hustling, we're trying to make money, and sometimes social media almost becomes, your picture book, where when you take very good pictures, that's when you remember to post. But people like Omojuwa have constantly, pointed us to the immense, incredible opportunities that exist on the platform and why we can't take it for granted, especially when it comes to driving change, with the power of social media. So let me say a huge congratulations to him, because he's one of those young people who constantly inspire me. I probably am younger, I'll have to check, or he's younger than me, I think. He's younger, yeah. Not by much though, it's not like I'm an old man, yeah. But the strides is made, the grounds is covered, the grounds is broken, the opportunities is signaled to people coming behind. Just shows that sometimes what these people require is what they take for granted. There's a lot of, almost every young person out there is connected, but then they're waiting for some opportunities from heaven, to open doors for them. And they're sitting with incredible opportunities, incredible digital assets that they can leverage to push their crafts, their persona, their personality, whatever it is that they're offering, or whatever it is that they can share with the rest of the world, to the levels where it should go. So congratulations yet again, JJ Omojuwa. I think I should keep what number of copies of the book I'm buying to myself, but I'm definitely, getting this for my staff at the minimum. that the 50 plus people who work at Viacom Lagos each get a copy, because for us as a business, digital obviously is very important. So congratulations again, my brother. Thanks.
Incredible stuff. Thank you so much for that. So just to give you a bit of insight, we're talking about this book. Where do you get it? It is on sale here at the venue. So I'm pretty sure by now you're excited about it. You're intrigued. At best, you should be extremely curious about the content of it. Now, we are going to get into the content of the book, but I just wanted you to know that it is available here at this venue. JJ, digital downloads available yet? Can we buy online? Okay, wonderful. So it will be available online as of next month. Next month starts tomorrow, so I'm watching you. I'll be watching your timeline for the information on that.
Now, talking about online, remember to continue this conversation on social media using the hashtag DWB and, of course, coded 2019. It's now time for the readings, the second part of it, and we're more than happy to invite a couple of people on stage. But first of all,
Yep. First of all, I'm excited about this gentleman because he's somebody who's very purposefully and intentionally building a movement of his own, both online and offline. And what excites me most about it is that it's a movement of joy. And we don't get enough joy shared, happiness, good news. There's not enough of it shared. So, Chude Jidomo, we absolutely love the fact that you've come to be a ray of light and to spread joy in the world as he reads from Digital, the New Wealth Code. So we're now getting into readings of the book so you can understand what we're excited about. Hey!
Good to see you.
Good to see. See, I told you he's filled with joy. Oh, good vibes.
By the way, is Bisola still here? I'm the chairman of the fan club. Great to see you. Okay, so I'm reading, congratulations on this, Omojua. It's a really pretty book. It's really beautiful, and I can't wait to start reading it. I'm reading from chapter 7, Contemporary Culture and Music Business in a Data-Driven World. Many of these artists, they don't know much about numbers. But you see, the numbers are everything. If you aren't measuring your progress, how can you tell what is working and what is not? This quote is by Olamide Adedeji at Olamide_YBNL, superstar artist and founder of YBNL Nation. We live in an era where traditional gatekeepers are losing their grip in entire industries, and the conventional idea of what it means to be a media house has changed and continues to evolve. For example, the World Economic Forum could be regarded as a media house now, with its plethora of well-researched videos and content that it shares on its digital platforms. This extends their reputation as organizers of the global Davos meetings and its regional versions around the world. This is the view of Randy Zuckerberg, who gained extensive digital experience after working at her brother's company, Facebook. She's now the owner of Zuckerberg Media, which owns Complicated, a digital lifestyle website. In her 2013 book, she wrote, "We have entered this interesting new world where every person and brand needs to think of itself as a media company, as a content creator with a sharing strategy. For example, Starbucks will spend millions of dollars on advertisements to potentially reach their customers on morning TV shows such as Morning Joe. But Starbucks has so many followers on Facebook alone that any message they broadcast on the Facebook platform will reach more people at a go than a similar advertisement on every single morning show combined. An online platform gives companies direct access to millions more accessible, demographically identifiable individuals following them on Facebook, Twitter, and other social networks. Therefore, news platforms and blogs no longer have the exclusivity of shaping narratives in a world where personalities now have more reach with their passionate fans. This was demonstrated by football superstar Neymar Jr., who in the wake of rape allegations did not release a press statement or offer an interview to a media house. Rather, he simply shared a video on his Instagram page stating what happened and even sharing personal WhatsApp messages between him and his accuser. This switched the narrative in his favor. With 119 million followers on Instagram, at the time of this incident, he had the ears of the world. It should be noted that he could have gotten into trouble for sharing some of those personal messages because it is a crime to share, transmit, or publish videos or images of sexual content. If it is established that his motive was an act of revenge porn, he could have been jailed for more than 5 years according to Brazilian law. However, his actions still show the power of social media. One of the fundamental aspects of social media is two-way engagement. Unlike TV and newspapers, your audience's response to you depends on how much you engage them. This means that you can create your ideas from the feedback. Your fan base is a sounding board, a dynamic and ever-present one, and the footballer used them as a channel to control the global media narrative. This is the new norm. The same idea of disrupting gatekeepers is similar to Jeff Bezos' intent for publishing long before Amazon started dominating that industry. Brad Stone aptly captures it in his book, The Everything Store, Jeff Bezos and the Age of Amazon. Amazon's founder repeatedly suggested that he had little reverence for the old gatekeepers of media, whose business models were forged during the analog age and whose function it was to review content and then subjectively decide what the public got to consume. This was to be a new age instead of creative surplus, where it is easy for anyone to create anything, find an audience, and allow the market itself to determine the proper economic reward. Even well-meaning gatekeepers slow innovation, Bezos wrote in his 2011 letter to shareholders. When a platform is self-service, even the improbable ideas can get tried because there's no expert gatekeeper ready to say that will never work. And guess what? Many of those improbable ideas do work, and society is the beneficiary of that diversity. A few weeks after that letter was published, Bezos told Thomas Friedman of the New York Times, "I see the elimination of gatekeepers everywhere." That was a prophetic statement that has now come to fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I hope you get the book.
A round of applause again for him, please. Our next reader is a columnist, a philanthropist, the founder and publisher of Genevieve Magazine, and the author of one of the best reads in the world today, Dust to Do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mrs. Betty Irabo. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Everybody has been talking about how they met Omojua. Well, I got on Twitter and saw that everybody was following him, so me too, I followed. Well, coming pretty much from an analog background, I came on social media, and I was pretty much like that person who was coming from Ukiarin to ShopRite. It was a bit difficult, and I remember the first time I was posting on Instagram, I had said to my office assistant who actually opened my handle for me, I said, what will I be doing on Instagram? He said, I said, I'm not a fashionista. I'm not a trend setter in any way. So I said, Charles, what would I be doing on Instagram? And he said, the same thing you've been doing in Genevieve, Morning Dew, where you speak to people, not at people. You speak to them. That's the same thing you should do on Instagram. So I started my journey on Instagram. As for Twitter, someone felt that I needed to be on Twitter. And I remember some of the challenges, wasn't sure what to post on Twitter. The things I was supposed to put on Instagram will find their way to Twitter, and I will delete and all that. But it's been really exciting being there, and I found myself in a few controversies, and I'm like, yepa. But it's all good. Congratulations, Omojua, and it's really nice to meet some of the people who have been trolling me on social media. So I'm here to read, It is time for Africa, and indeed, it is time. Before we even start to speak of incentives for the digital economy, maybe government should take the lead by getting out of the way of progress first. For instance, in Nigeria, like Kola mentioned above, it literally stands in the way of access to fiber optic cables and economically impactful infrastructure. We cannot continue to cry about the inadequacy of jobs and opportunities when in many instances governments are blocking the creation of such jobs and opportunities. We are watching others make all the moves, often aided by government policies and incentives. When are we going to see that commitment from our national and subnational governments beyond the tokenism of some digital events, programs, and political pronouncements? Despite the repeated trips to China and India by our governments, they are not learning the right things. China is leading the charge of 5G and A1, something that has set it off on collision course with the United States government. This battle between the world's superpowers will prove as important as the first two world wars because it will shape the outcome of industries, government, and societies for many years to come. We may not have the resources and technology to challenge the likes of China and the US, but we do have the sovereignty to not only open ourselves to some form of technological colonization. This will happen if we continue to trust foreigners to manage and run critical national digital and technological infrastructure. We need to build our women and men so that they can in turn build our countries. It is time we paid attention to the digital economy and ask ourselves, what is in it for us? We are consuming the platforms and technology created by others, but we must learn how to do ours without stunting our progress today. By virtue of who will make Africa thrive and prosper, and for the mere fact that a sizable number of us carry the internet wherever we go, I can say with absolute clarity that the prosperity and change we desire for our people are very much in our hands. We know what to do. Generations unborn will not forgive us if we do nothing. They will think us people of little ambition if we barely scratch the surface, but they will have our names written in gold if we unleash the prosperity and opportunities we know we now can. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Auntie Betty. That was an incredible read, but y'all were eating, so I'm not sure how much of that you heard. I was sitting backstage and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why is there such a furore? And I realized that it's lunchtime. So bon appetit. But just speaking to that chapter, I don't want it to get lost in translation because it is an important chapter. Just put your hand up if you saw Ojoa Ke'eng. Ojoa Ke'eng. You're on Twitter? None of you saw Ojoa Ke'eng? Or maybe I should say it the way it's spelled, Ojoa Ke'eng. A lot of people saw it, right? And this conversation is about digital bringing Africa together. Now, this is on a social media space, but I mean, that's a Sutu term. Ojwa Keeng means what is eating you up. And the fact that it's, I believe, I don't have the statistics, but as far as Africa is concerned, it's one of the most engaged tweets in history, full stop. Because it sparked so many conversations about so many things. But what I thought was powerful about it was the very fact that it's a language that most people had probably never even heard of before that tweet went out. And it stimulated so many impactful and revealing conversations. So digital in the context of the African space and African development is a massive conversation that is touched on in this body of work, in this book. Okay, our final reading for the day is from Tommy Akani-Aluko, who is a brand communications connoisseur. So Tommy, I'd like to invite you to read your excerpt from the Digital Wealth book. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. Can you put your jollof down for 2 seconds just to welcome her? Give her a very warm welcome. Now, girl, I'm going to encourage you because competing with jollof is hard, but I know you can hold it down, right? Do me proud.
The podium's taller than me as well, but that's fine. I'll stay in the corner. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're enjoying lunch. No, it's okay. I'll stand to command. I hope everyone's enjoying lunch. Huge congrats to JJ. This is a huge milestone. You already know how I feel about this. I'm certain JJ has picked this excerpt for me to read today. As a practicing Catholic and a highly spiritual person, I have many opinions, deep opinions about the way religion is being perpetuated. He knows how strongly I feel about this. And I'm so happy and proud to see Timmy in the building. Sorry to always put you on the spot, but we're too proud. We're just too proud of the way you have used what you have to say what you need to say. Accountability is key. I also stand to represent EIE, which is why it's personal for me as well. I'm reading from Digital and the Future of Organized Religion. Religious leaders used to always have their way with little resistance, but that has changed with digital. The change is that many of them are now on the back foot, often defending themselves and correcting some impressions. The questions your conventional congregation dare not ask, your virtual audience will. God help the leader if the question goes viral and they lack credible answer. In this digital age, there are slippery slopes and there are opportunities. Where you and your organization land depends on how you work out your strategy on social media and in building your own communities. Scandals may disappear for a while, but they only need one story to be resurrected. Having a social media department in a church or training social media savvy members will not be enough. As with modern multinational companies, the church is often shaped in the image of its leading pastor. If the pastor falls short of public expectation, there will be no escaping the sort of accountability that will be demanded by the public. Though your members may invade the internet to defend you, their voices will be nothing compared to that of the mass of people who owe no allegiance to you. You want to make sure that when push comes to shove, irrespective of what the blogs, news platforms, or microbloggers say, your truth will prevail, because your truth is verifiable. A respectable international platform had listed a respected Nigerian pastor amongst pastors who owned private jets. Interestingly, it was a social media user who informed them that they were indeed wrong. The said pastor had none. The post was immediately corrected. It didn't help that some Nigerian platforms had copied and pasted the story without corrections. But what is clear is that the general public is often not negative or positive. They simply engage the argument that was presented to them. The Bible is a thread. I see a lot of Christians taking some of these realities as an attack on the church. The idea of touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. As the ever-ready immunity clause for pastors, prophets, and church leaders cannot work. This is the inquisitive and questioning generation. They are not people who will take a verse of the Bible without exploring the context of such a verse when a pastor tells them to read 1 Chronicles 16:22 as justification for why members should not ask questions for their church leadership. The Bible is a thread. People will ask questions about the lone verses you deploy for your personal agenda. You should be grateful for a generation that asks questions because human progress was built on questions. Jesus used questions to engage his apostles. Accountability is indeed biblical. As long as you go looking into the world, you will be met with questions. Silence will not always work, especially when your silence keeps reverberating. While you are looking to hide behind a lone verse, you are open to being exposed by listeners who would rather explore the entire chapter. Thank you so much, Amajua, for this.
A round of applause for her again, please.
Thank you so much. What a force. She stood her ground versus lunch. I think she beat lunch. Definitely. She sure did.
Up next will be the remarks for today, and the remarks will be said by no other person than Kayode Agbola. A round of applause for him, please. Adegbola. Yeah, I think I got that right.
Listen to me correcting you in Yoruba. Coyote is coming right up.
Something later anyway.
As long as it's not insults, because you find when you ask people to teach you a language, they only want to teach you the bad stuff. Welcome, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go straight into it. I was originally supposed to give remarks for about 20 minutes talking about how the government can create an enabling environment for startups. I think, one, it's unfair to take 20 minutes. And I think, secondly, I would rather spend a few minutes talking about Japhet and then just pick up a few excerpts from what I had planned as a speech. Somebody said that they hated Japhet because of his tweets. I think for me, I noticed him on social media and I thought, how person go just they talk true every time, talk true. And I didn't get the full value of the kind of person that Japhet is until one day I was cheated. And I was being careful to even speak out for myself. And Japhet was one of the people who spoke out in clear terms for me. And it is something that I will never forget. Very quickly, in terms of startups in Nigeria, a startup is typically, a lot of people think of startups as companies that are new businesses, but the real definition of startup is a business that has the capacity to scale very quickly. And this contribution of startups to Nigeria in 2018, startups in Nigeria raised over $178 million, primarily from foreign investors. And so there's a lot of attention on Nigerian tech startups at the moment. In Africa, Lagos was ranked as the fourth most likely to make it into the global top 30 startup ecosystems. If you take Paystack, for example, in just 2 years, the company has processed over 15% of all mobile payments in this country. And the company has raised over 10 million since inception. The role of government, firstly, the government can be an equity holder in startups. If we take, for example, interventions such as Lagos Innovates, an initiative of LSETF, in terms of regulation and licensing, one of the major hurdles experienced is, for example, with fintech startups, there's a license that costs $14 million. For a startup just entering the market, that sort of sum is often hard to come by. Inevitably, the stringency of licensing and regulation could stifle creativity and innovation. The government can also offer tax breaks and tax reliefs depending on size, revenue, and number of employees. But also, more importantly, the government should invest in infrastructure that allows startups to thrive. If we look at power, for example, Nigeria loses ₦1 trillion annually from power outages. Internet-based solutions cannot thrive if the network cables cannot support the speed of the content that needs to be disseminated. Investments in infrastructure are extremely critical to the success of the startup environment in Nigeria. And the benefits of startups are very simple and clear. Firstly, startups aid job creation. For example, shameless plug, I work for GoCada as Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs. And in terms of job creation, we've created over 1,000 direct jobs. And this does not take into account those who maintain the bikes and conduct repairs, tire sellers, etc. in terms of direct employment. So that's one of the benefits of startups to the economy and why it's important for government to create an enabling environment for startups. Beyond that as well, there's an increase in economic activity and the GDP, and ultimately a better standard of living. These rely ultimately on an enabling environment from the government, and this is the role that the government should play. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I wasn't too boring, and I hope that I was able to make points taken from a speech in a way that makes sense. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Kayode. Talk about a man who knows how to read the room, get to the point, and deliver a message without losing any value or any content in what he's saying. Brilliant. Yeah, great. Unfortunately, we have a keynote address that we were really looking forward to, but the gentleman is otherwise engaged. Something came up and he was unable to make it at the last minute.
We do understand though, that his representative is around. So if you're the representative for Dr. Tony Rapu, please come forward right now and please give the person a round of applause.
So this is a continuation of the conversation. We read an excerpt from the book focusing on, digital faith. So in place of our keynote from Pastor Tony Rapu, his representative is speaking on digital faith. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry. I would like to extend my apologies on behalf of Dr. Tony Rapu. He wasn't able to make it today. I've been sent to fill very big shoes, and I'll try and do it some justice. I've been told that I've got a very short time, so let me just get right into it. Maybe you can put a picture. Okay, picture of him and just listen to my voice because I'm going to speak in his person. Okay, so really he wanted to say just a few things, and before I go off, I'll try and convey that. One of the major things that I ask millennials and post-millennials is, if Jesus walked on earth today, would he be on social media? It's quite engaging to hear the responses. And he said, the answers that he receives are very intriguing, and everyone has their perspective. So his answer to it is definitely yes. Of course he would be, and the reference is simple. In the Bible, you see what we know as the Beatitudes today, where Jesus taught on the Mount, or where he spoke on the sea. This was him really being progressive, adapting, new platforms to reach a wider crowd. In the case of today, that's what social media presents. So essentially, I believe Jesus Christ would be on social media, maybe at JCSOG, Son of God, or something like that. And he'll probably have a lot of trolls, none of which is the devil. So essentially we can't disregard or discard the importance of social media. The second part of that question is, how would he act or how would he engage on social media? Now, that is not necessarily very straightforward. For us as believers, we believe that Jesus Christ embodies the wisdom and creativity of God, which meant that his message and his messaging, two different parts of the same package, was always right for the time. He employed the appropriate context and language to drive home the message, which is the message of the kingdom. And when teaching, he constantly referred to people's immediate society to convey the message. So he gave parables on agriculture, which is what they practiced at the time. He gave parables on the talents, which is commerce, and even the Good Samaritan touches on politics.
Now today still the same thing applies, because in social media we have to be careful about not just the message, the content, but also the messaging. So the pertinent question is this: should we really be on social media? Should the conversations change? Can the age of dogmatic doctrine still work in this new generation? How much work do you actually place in your content creation? I believe that this is where the innovation in shaping future conversations lie. How much of the message are we showing rather than telling? This generation has more information than any generation. I mean, with access to Google, you can't really tell this generation about parts of the Bible or any other religious text that they don't already know. So the question they usually ask is, do you practice what you preach, and can we see it? A contemporary of mine came on earlier and said that social media gives you an insight into your humanity. As crazy as that might sound, that is true. It's like a window into how you live your life. So one of the expressions that Pastor Tony has, which is the Genesis House, caters to rehabilitating ex-commercial workers, people that have been stuck on substance abuse for a long time. And although he has been doing this for 30 years, it isn't until the advent of social media and engaging social media that it has come to limelight, and there has become a prevalence of this, the menace that substance abuse is in our society. So in rounding up, I think he would like to convey the message that new media presents an opportunity to show while telling. So we need to take advantage of the dynamism of content, the speed of distribution, and the ability to interact seamlessly. I'd just like to add my own little anecdote here. So PT, as we call him, posts videos of him and his wife, Mrs. Rappo. And there are videos of them dancing, and engaging in coupley of activities. These are nice videos, actually. Some of them throwback videos. Some of these videos have over 100,000 eyeballs see them, and you see him interact with some of the followers. There's feedback, there are comments, and he interacts with them. I believe in that one post, he's delivered a sermon. There has been interaction, i.e., there has been reception of that sermon. And you actually see further than that, you see counseling. So on this new media, the paper that he was meant to present was the conversations that are being shaped in faith and religion, how new media can affect that. On this new media, he's been able to deliver a message, interact with the audience, and even provide his own feedback in terms of counseling. So it is clear that the message of the kingdom will never change, the principle will never change, but the blueprint that has been given to us by Jesus is something that we need to transfer from the Bible that we preach into new media. So we cannot be separate on both platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much.
It's interesting to imagine what Jesus' timeline would look like. But I suppose if we search deeply enough in Scripture, all the answers we need laid therein. So a special thank you on behalf of Dr. Tony Rappo. That was the keynote address talking into the digital faith. Now, I believe we have something, that was high-pitched. I believe we have something a little bit dramatic happening right now.
We'll see. Okay, but first of all, though, if you're standing at the back of the hall, please would encourage you to find a seat right now. It is very, very important that you find a seat right now. I cannot tell you why, you have to see why for yourself. So please, if you're standing, we suggest you please find a seat right now.
We could be giving stuff away, you never know.
Please, thank you.
There could be freebies. I don't know, I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but...
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't call me a liar if it doesn't, though.
We'll get to that.
Wonderful.
It is now officially time, sorry, Zimbai.
Go for it.
It is now officially time to present the book for today, and also to welcome on stage the chief presenter and special guest. But before that, I believe a few things are in order.
Told you there would be drama.
Now,
JJ said, is it drama or NEPA? Please, guys, this is planned. It's
this
drama.
Is actually planned. We're waiting. Yep. I think that's it. All right then. So where are our people? I thought
Okay, so where I lack in drama, please just use imagination, okay? Because I promised you a show, and whatever it takes, I'm going to give you guys a show.
Yeah. So here we go.
Yep, so we introduce yet again our chief presenter and special guest. Let the presentation begin.
Interesting.
I'm starting to feel like the joke's on us.
Nah,
like this is some sort of social experiment. Oh, well, we've been through that one already.
We've been through that one already. Nah, we're not ready for that. Maybe if they pay us, maybe we'll be ready for that.
All right, I'm going to have to say this in black and white. In our tech department, can we have a total blackout in the building, please?
More like it. Yeah, like totally blackout. Thank you. Everything goes off? Everything. The lights at the back, tech, lights, please. Everything goes off now, please. Thank you. More like it.
We're getting there. We're getting there. You can tell there's a lot of children of light in this room because, man, it's taking a lot for darkness to... you know, we are fast stretched for our time, so I do plead with the tech department to make it a little bit snappy. Everybody's trying to get home before traffic starts to... Thank you very much. One last light.
One last light. The one in the corner to the right of the hole. Thank you. That way. The light there. Today, oh bros, today. Yeah, I think we should do that.
Okay, wonderful. Well, to speed this process up, we'd like to introduce the chief presenter and special guest, Musa Halilu Ahmed. Yes, please give him a round of applause. I'm not sure. See, your entrance is all the drama I needed. You look fantastic. You can go ahead and take the floor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful faces, the young generation and the upcoming generation of Nigerians. Good afternoon. The celebrant, my friend and brother, whom I call Mr. JJ, I congratulate you for this giant stride in the digital world. You have always been a source of inspiration to younger generations, most especially when it comes to digital world. By writing this book, I think I would rather say you have finally come to climax in proving your hard work and dedication towards the digital world, promoting the digital world. On behalf of my humble self and my family, I will want to wish you a very big congratulations for this giant stride one more time. And my job is very simple this afternoon, just to present the book. Of course, when they say something is digital, that means it's already out there. Without much ado, on behalf of my foundation, which is called the Musa Halilu Ahmed Foundation, I'm buying 200 copies, the token of 2 million naira, just to support my friend. And it will be distributed quote across the territories of our dear country. My friend and brother JJ Omojoa, I congratulate you one more time. Sky is your limit. This is just the beginning. More success. Cheers and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you kindly for that. Books flying off the shelves. How exciting.
Yeah, 200 copies gone.
Right. So, we've spoken about the book, we've read excerpts of the book, and we've even picked key themes from the book that we've dissected in several ways. But the one thing that we haven't experienced yet is somebody who has touched and tasted the content of the book in its entirety and been able to give us their testimony of what lies in between the covers of this body of work. See, people from Temple are loud. Y'all haven't even introduced him yet. Will you do me the honors of introducing...
Now, for the book review today, we have the honor, privilege, and utmost joy to welcome on stage Mr. Tefa Tili Yado.
And he is with Temple
A round of applause for him, ladies.
See him giving us that athlete. Athletes always come up to the ring with a bounce in their step. So, I know everybody is a little bit restless, so just hang in there, because shortly after this we will be hearing finally from JJ Omojowa before we call it a day. So just hang in there. We still have plenty more great content coming for you. Hey, Tefa.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Tefa Tili Yado. Now, fortunately for me, unfortunately for you, it is the duty of the book reviewer on an occasion of this nature to be careful that it does not anticipate the speakers that are coming after and those who have come before. It is therefore my duty to have sat down and listened to the speeches and remarks of everyone with exemplary attention so as to avoid any unnecessary repetition. A lot of fantastic submissions and contributions have already been made about the author and the man of the hour, Mr. JJ Omojowa. And therefore, I shall confine myself as your reviewer to be as plain and as short an exposition as I can possibly give you on JJ Omojowa's book, Digital, The New Code of Wealth. It is regrettable, however, that in asking me to review this book, Mr. Omojowa did not really fully think his request through. When one asks someone to review their book, it is quite often predicated on three assumptions. The first assumption is that the person likes you enough to accept the offer. The second assumption is that the person is a friend or owes you a favor of some sort. And the third is that the reviewer is good enough at their designated job to do it justice. Unfortunately, if Mr. Omojowa had based his offer on any of these three assumptions, then he has completely misroute. And I'll tell you why. Like many have said already, I do not like Mr. Japheth Joshua Omojowa. I do not like him. In fact, I love him. Mr. Omojowa is not my friend, nor do I owe him any favor. Mr. Omojowa is my brother, and he has a lifetime bank of favors. And the last assumption is that this reviewer is good at his designated job. This reviewer is not good at his designated job. He is great at his designated job. All joking aside, it is a great honor that has been bestowed on me by my brother, even though he has also presented me with two considerable challenges. The first is that he gave me the book only a week ago, and I was initially daunted, but it proved to be such a page turner that I read it in a day. So that challenge was easily surmounted. The second challenge, which proved more enduring, is that I struggled to squeeze this wonderfully written book into a particular genre, which is quite important when reviewing a book. Ostensibly, it is a reference book or even a self-help book. It's an unparalleled and well-documented account of the evolution of the digital space in the Nigerian context, going back to the arrival of mobile phone telephony, the attendant connectivity issues, right through to the growth of the sector, accessibility, the data explosion, to where we are today. However, in reading more, you also realize that the book is also partly autobiographical and partly a memoir. The shaping of the Nigerian digital space is also the story of how Omojowa became Omojowa. In chapters 1 and 2, titled My Digital Journey and Becoming a Person of Influence, respectively, Omojowa uses anecdotes from his own life to educate the reader on how best to harness the strength of the internet and social media. It made me curious to dig out some of Omojowa's first tweets, which I could date back to February 19, 2010. Do you remember the first tweet? Quite enigmatically, the first ever tweet
is one linking to an article called The Perverted Celibate, and a link to his website, omojua.com. So even from then, there's been a sense of self-promotion. And of course, he tweeted a lot about some football club in London that's called Arsenal, I believe. But I will not spare you all the heartbreak of any more references to that. The New Code of Wealth, as the title suggests, is also a personal finance guide. In chapter 5, which is titled Digital Business, Africa's New Money Block and Old Money's Evolution, he uses several case studies which show almost unendingly diverse methods of monetizing and tapping into the digital gold mine. I'm not sure there is a book in existence that boasts such a rich ensemble of young, successful Nigerians as can be found in this chapter in particular. The idea of such an ensemble presents yet another potential genre for this book: crime. Admittedly, this is mostly because the author is himself a criminal. But apart from that, he has also appropriated the words and ideas of other successful entrepreneurs in the form of interviews. So we have the uncommon privilege of learning not just how Omojua became a digital overlord, but also the success stories and cautionary tales of young Nigerian luminaries, such as Mr. Idris Oloronimbe, the Group Chief Executive of the Temple Management Company. Tolu Ogunlesi, the multiple award-winning writer. Bidemi Zachariah of LSFPR. Benga Agbola of the game-changing payments platform Flutterwave, and a host of many others, too many to mention. It is the ultimate cheat code. Finally, anyone who has encountered any of Omojua's outputs will know that his wit and humor can be extremely sarcastic and, I dare say, mischievous. So one can also make a case for the New Code of Wealth as a satirical work. Although he names names where appropriate, at other times, the author skillfully paints a picture and leaves the rest to your imagination. Omojua breathlessly navigates this vast spectrum of the bold new world, and he writes with self-deprecation, wisdom, and humor at every turn. The chapters and subheads are short, but no less impactful for their terseness. Beyond the specific topics I have mentioned, Omojua also delves into faith, of which is a most ardent devotee. Activism, which has gotten him into trouble on more than a couple of occasions, and the government, in which he resists the temptation to point fingers at past failings. Rather, it proffers salient solutions to better performance. There is indeed something for everyone here, and the book can be read chapter by chapter or in its entirety. Now, I suppose that because I've said all these rather flowery things about this book, that you now think I'll recommend it to you for purchase. Nothing could be more wrong. The problem is that everybody who reads this book will automatically become wealthy. And that is not just acceptable. Because anyone who has studied economics knows that in any given society, we cannot all be wealthy. Wealth is categorized into two types, the real value and the use value. And the one we accumulate is the use value, which is converted from the real value. But real value is fundamentally limited on Earth, and human survival and future generation survival and development depend on it. So, Mr. Omojua, if you value civilization and do not wish to bring about a form of Armageddon, please do not sell this book to the general public, because everyone that reads it will become rich. I suggest you now sit down with your editor and release it chapter by chapter. Perhaps there are 9 chapters in the book, so maybe release it over a period of 9 years. On a serious note, Mr. Japheth Joshua Omojua, my brother, I'm immensely proud of what you have achieved with this book. I'm sure that I'm not breaching a trust if I reveal here today that we're already discussing your next book and the one after that, which by God's grace will be published by Temple. I've also been advised by my chairman and our chief executive that we are pledging 300 copies, 200 copies from the chairman and 100 copies from Temple of this wonderful book. Thank you so much for this extraordinary honor. And I hope everyone here can enjoy and experience this very important and remarkable book.
Thank you so much for that, Tefa. I was just trying to do a mark. Thank you, that was incredible. I didn't know that Tefa spoke so well. He's somebody who normally enjoys being behind the scenes, so it's awesome to hear him express himself. But I'm trying to do the maths. Please forgive me if it's a little bit off. But JJ, I believe that in under 2 hours you've sold over 1,000 copies of your book. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you. That's certainly a record to be proud of. Okay. Oh, is it time for drama? No? This drama is also trying to surprise us as well, clearly.
Here we go.
I feel like they should like...
You're doing a good job.
Aha!
This is the moment we have been waiting for. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm presenting this book to the glory of God and mankind. May it continue to inspire young generation and beyond. Amen. As you can see, we are holding the copies of the book. This is an official launching. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'm recommending this book to business community. I'm recommending this book to Nigerian institutions and beyond. This book is wealth. You just heard of it. Somebody said he should have launched it page by page, chapter by chapter, so that he can make more money. But through his kindness, he decided to launch it in a day. So I advise that everybody should grab a copy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And on that note, would like to say it is time, JJ, it is time for you. For the obtained time today, and not definitely for the last time, a round of applause for the man of the day, JJ Omojuwa, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm actually very surprised that we still have this many people here. I'm really, really surprised because I don't like attending events that take too long, and this has really taken too long. But thank God that we had such extraordinary speakers. Everybody that came up here was distinguished, not just in terms of the fact that they are naturally distinguished, but in terms of how they spoke to the conversations, whether the readers, somebody was reading, a couple of people were reading, and I was like, wow, I wrote those words, oh my God, thank you. Because it just brought the words to life. So please clap for everyone that came up here. It's also very important to acknowledge those that didn't come up, that I believe that, so the reason why we took such a long time was me. I kept insisting, no, she has to come up, she must speak. Anybody that wants to go must go. He must speak. And there's a limit to how much you can do that. I want to say thank you to everyone that came here, to those that came early and stayed to this point, to those that came during the session and stayed, to those that tried to come and couldn't make it, to those that joined us on the internet, on Periscope, on YouTube, via the hashtags on Instagram. I don't have the words to express how grateful I am for your participation in the conversations on democracy and development and the presentation of this book. Thank you so much. I had an idea for a conversation on democracy and development in 2014. And I have a problem. I don't like to do things anyhow. I would rather not do it at all. I go big or I don't go at all. So I wrote the idea somewhere and kept it. When it's time, we'll come and do you. And then in November or September last year, Emilia, who gets to speak after me, to do the vote of thanks. So the thank you that I did is my personal thank you. The organizational one is still coming. So I was working on another book with Egbon Idris and Tempo. That particular book is about halfway done. I don't want to keep saying. I was working on another book, and then this email came. Emilia sent this email to me about the need to write this digital book. She had a title. The idea was set. Interestingly, I didn't reply Emilia's email. The first thing I did was to reach out to Egbon Idris and like, Egbon, wow, that this is the email I got. And the way I see this thing, this idea is more urgent than this book. This other book will still benefit. You read the argument for why I had to like, you chill, let's do this one. And then of course, we kept going. And then I think in January or February, I posted an email about releasing a book in the summer, and then everybody was screaming, it was trending, Instagram, everything. I was like, what's going on here? This thing is really serious. So the first thing I did was to delete my social media account to actually now finally write the book. Because when I announced it, I had not written anything, apart from the outline. But the tensioning was too much. I was like, no. So I took myself out, and then we did it. Even though Emilia will still come out to thank people, look, when it comes to working with me, there are two different perspectives. I will tell you, oh my God, this is extraordinary. Oh my God, like, you're so great, you're world class. Then the other side is, if you mess up, you would rather I caned you, because the things I will tell you, I will take your soul out of you. And I have really, really taken people's souls out of them. I mean, I returned it. I returned it because they have to do what they have to do. To get, look, this stage, everything put together, the book itself, we did not just try to do something for the sake of doing it. We tried to do something to make a statement, to let people know that Nigerians, especially this generation, we are not mediocre. Look at the speakers. Look at the things that were coming out of the speakers' mouth. Look at all the speakers. Look at the things they were saying. If I was going to form a cabinet today, look at the speakers. Look at the things they were saying. Speakers. Nigeria has a world-class base of intellectual power. I don't think anybody doubts it. I think somehow, some way, the challenge is just that some way we have not been able to put this together to make change happen. Our civilization is stunted. Our civilization has been delayed. It's almost like a stillbirth. We have a long way to go. Our civilization, look, we can look Agbada, jollof rice and all this, we can look beautiful, we can have this conversation in such a beautiful environment, but as a collective, as a collective, Nigeria, Africa, we have a lot of work to do. And it is very, very important to say that no individual, not one of us will do this work alone. So we need activist politicians like Simi. We need activist legal luminaries like Fali. We need with the intellectual power of Olakunle Soyinka. We need the understanding of the role of faith in the new economy, in the new contemporary society like Godman. We need the billionaires. I think one of the biggest problems we have in the movement is that our billionaires are still very obsessed with power. They are not looking at the new movement of young people to put money into. And I think it's very, very important. We cannot make change happen without money. We cannot. Let's stop fooling around. And my friends know me. I don't have time. If you come to me in 2022 that you want to run for president, I'll ask you, apart from the fact that you cannot win, do you have any agenda that you need? There needs to be a coming, and I'm not talking about the next election. The next election is not my business. I'm talking about the next generation. There needs to be a coming together, intentional, by all of us, to commit and set up for a vision for the future. Do you know why it is possible? Let me tell you why it is possible. 10 years ago, I used to do home teaching on this road as a core member 9 years ago, 2010, 2011. And I used to look at this place. And I used to be like, I'm going to organize an event here. I'm going to organize an event here. In 2010 or 11, a white man I'm yet to meet took me to Abuja. I was working for him. He hired me as a core member via the internet. He was paying me $1,000 per month. He put me at the Sheraton Hotel. And I was looking at Shehu Yaradua Center. I was like, wow, this place is beautiful. I'm going to have an event here. By the way, the Abuja launch of the hardcover is September 10, 2019. I can tell you for free, and this is not motivational speaking, really and truly, if you write out an idea, if you dream those ideas up in colors, I have the colors of this thing you see here is a dream come true. The only difference is that the dream was bigger than I thought. I didn't think that we'd be selling about 3,000 copies before I walked out of the presentation of the book. I didn't think so. And I don't think that if an individual, and a lot of us have dreams that have been fulfilled, if individuals can dream and can make it happen, then we can come together as a collective and pick the dreams that we want to change in education and then make it happen. The other side of it is we don't have to seek, we don't have to get it has been emphasized, political power is extremely important. But we have to be careful not to think that we need power, political power, to make this change happen. We have to, one way or the other, we drag our government into it. The way we drag them into the digital space, they are still trying to understand it, but where they are today is not where they used to be in 2010 or 2012 or 13. On the other side, we will do certain things that they will see and replicate. But I can tell you for free, we have a lot, and when I say we, I mean it intentionally, all of us. So you can decide that, oh, me, I'm the problem, so they are planning for me, it's okay. There are two kinds of people, the problems and the solutions. But right here in this space, you have to commit to understanding that all of us here, and those of us that are listening on the whatever platforms, we must commit to reversing, because I don't want to be negative in my conversation. That's why I'm speaking to the solution, because things really are a mess. And I'm not trying to diss anybody or any government. We need to do better. We need to do better, and we have to commit to that better. We need to speak to the kind of educational system we want to have in 2025. We need to speak to that, and we need to create those prototypes and replicate them and wait for government, because government will copy them. There are different ways to engage government. I started by making noise, to sending text messages. Yoga, when elections come, don't come and beg me that you people are running, you people are messing up, to sending DMs, to meeting someone at an event and saying, we're greeting. People think we're just greeting us as like, sir, people are actually disappointed in your work. Well done, sir. Well done, sir. And people think we're just shaking hands. We cannot afford to be afraid to speak truth to power. Do you know why? And I'm closing now. The easiest success is the individual one. I don't think you need... It's not a big deal to become a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire, but I know it's not a big deal. You know why? One contract, you're a billionaire. One contract, you're a billionaire. The big deal is in how many people you are able to translate to millionaires and possibly build. That is the big deal. When they do a Forbes list and your name is there, I'm looking at how many people can say that they became this or became that because you were on that Forbes list. Because in your growth, you dragged others along with you. That is what all of us must commit to. And please, let me not forget. Thank you. Thank you. Let me not forget. Please, please. When you leave this place, they are selling my book out there. There's been a lot of sweat. Look at the book. I'm not saying it's world class. Like world class. World class. And I have seen the books that they sell for 5,000. It's not this type of book. This is not, this book is not a 5,000. Please give me a copy of the book. This book, I'm not making money on this book. The one I'll make money on is in the future. This one is to show you, thank you. Please. Is it shining? Can you see it as it's shining? That shining, we didn't put oil on the paper. We didn't put oil. See, there are colors inside. You would, if you find a 5,000 naira book that is as good as this, send me your account number, I'll refund you. Forget the content. Content, if you still have doubt about the content, you would not be sitting down, so you have trust in the content. I'm talking about the quality of production. So the least you should do is buy one for yourself, buy for someone else. Nobody. You'll be betraying everything I said in the beginning if you left here. Because how can you want to change society? I don't want to change my own life first. I'm here. I'm here. Change my own first. You must buy this book. You must. And buy for people. And tweet about it. We are together. There's something in this book I need to show you. I'm sorry if your name did not make it. I mean, you heard him say that we have another book coming up. I think I must have mentioned it. So, this list that we have here, by the way, I wrote the longest acknowledgement ever. It was my consultant that said, no, it cannot fly. I put all the people that I have ever met in my life that have said something nice or said, you can never make it. I put their names inside. I didn't say they are mad though, I just put their names. So that when they are reading it, they will remember, this guy put my name because of this. Their names are here. Because I don't think in terms of an individual, I think in terms of the collective. And I remember everything and everyone that has impacted me. And their names are here. You will never find a book, I say it again, you will never find a book that has this many names. I had to create a different kind of acknowledgement. But this is the last time I'm going to dash people's names, just like that on my book. My next book, you will earn it extraordinarily. And really, it starts today. Change Nigeria, commit to Africa. We will start today. Please, buy this book. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Incredible. Incredible. So just like that, it's official. JJ Omojuwa, the author, is open for business. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him
a round of applause.
A round of applause to celebrate him today. JJ, thank you so much for making everybody here a part of this. Now, before everybody sneaks out, and while we enjoy the celebration, let's get into our vote of thanks.
Closing remarks and vote of thanks from no other person than Emilia Assin-Ita. A round of applause for Emilia as she comes on stage.
Okay, so just hold on. The event isn't over. We just have one or two more things. A very quick vote of thanks, and then we will set you free into your best life.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of A-Line Media Limited and Alpha Reach. Would like to say a very big thank you to all of you for coming. Would like to say thank you to all our supporters, individuals and corporate organizations who have supported our work. If you step out, you'd find the media wall where we've given credit to all the brands that have been with us on this journey. Without wasting much of your time, we'd like to say thank you, and thank you to Omojua for accepting to write this book. For me, it's not just a book, it's a vision come to life. So thank you so much, JJ, for being not just a friend, but now a client, and hopefully we do more together. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And as they say, that's all, folks. What a wonderful day. Remember to keep tweeting about the book, keep posting about the book, follow on social media, use the hashtag buy the book. Actually, it's probably the most important thing. But honey,
I had a good time.
I am tired. I had a wonderful time, but these feet need to, I need to put these feet up. But yeah, thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. I'm Bimbai Mutiniri. You guys have been brilliant.
Bye.
Everybody